This is Tigger Moves 365. It's a Tabata workout, so you're going to be doing each exercise 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, alternating for a 4-minute interval, or 8 20-second sets, done in sequence. You go through the exercise one at a time, starting at the top. It's best to use a timer on your phone to ring you through so you know when to start and stop. I use Boxing Timer Pro. It's an app on the phone. And this workout requires nothing more than a resistance tube like this, an exercise tube, and then a sturdy bench or chair. Now, you can order these online. I suggest having a light, medium, and strong, perhaps even an extra light and an extra strong if you want a more comprehensive set. I recommend having 2 sets if you can, just in case one of them breaks, which can happen from time to time. We're gonna get started with the Sumo overhead sit-down squats, exercise number 1. So for this one here, you're going to be, well, first of all, you're going to set up square in the shot. So this one here, you're going to have a wide stance, feet turned out, arms up overhead, elbows locked out. You sit down, then you stand up and repeat, just like that. So that's the base exercise. Now there's a progression, and just to show you what that looks like from the side, I've got a really wide stance, and I'm keeping my arms up overhead the whole time. That's going to work your hips, it's going to work your thighs, it's going to work your shoulders, your upper back posture, everything. Now a progression would be to hold a tube under your feet, under the middle of the feet, and to arc the handles up to shoulder height at the top of each squat, just like this. A further progression would be to arc them all the way overhead, just like this. So just to give you a different angle on that, if I'm like this, and I set them up under the middle of my feet, and I sit down, wide stance, sit down, stand up, swinging them up to shoulder height to start, or then all the way up overhead as the progression. Now, the next movement we're going to do is a tightrope overhead lunge. For this exercise here, you're going to have something sturdy you can lean into. You can use a tree, you can use a wall. I'm going to use this chair for now. You're going to get into a kneeling lunge stance. So you want to have you want to be kneeling like you're being knighted or proposing marriage. Back ankle flexed, toe tucked under, front ankle touching the back knee. So it's like you're on a tightrope, okay? So you want to be as in line as possible. Arms up straight overhead. You're just going to stand all the way up, lunge all the way down, and repeat, keeping as upright a posture as you can. Now, each set you're going to switch legs. So set number 2, I'm going to have right leg forward. So you just alternate which leg is in front. This is really going to help add some stability to the lunge pattern. It's also great for the shoulders and posture. There's a tube progression we can do. And that tube progression would be to place one end of the tube underneath your midfoot on the side of the forward leg. Okay, and I'm going to hold the tube in front of the shoulder like this. So I'm at the bottom of my lunge. Now I stand up tall and I press the tube overhead. So that's a stationary lunge and overhead press combo that you can progress onto once you're ready, okay? Now the next exercise is band pull-aparts. For this one here, you're just gonna take the band, you're gonna loop it around your hands a couple times like this. Okay, so you can kind of see, I've got it looped around the middle of my hands. Those things are out of the way. Now you're gonna pop your chest up and out, and you're gonna move from the middle of the shoulder blades to pull the band apart, release it back to the middle, and repeat, just like this. Okay? Keeping really good posture. You're gonna feel this all through those upper back muscles, particularly the muscles between the shoulder blades. They're the scapular retractors. They're the muscles that take you from this posture to this posture. So they're gonna help straighten up the upper back. Now, there is a progression we can do where we combine this with a narrow sit-down squat. Recall that our first exercise was a sumo squat with a wide stance. Now we're going to a super narrow stance. In that way, we're varying the squats within the workout, so we're not being overly repetitive, but we're utilizing the squat movement because it's excellent for raising the heart rate and helping us burn even more calories when that's our priority. So, I would set up using the bench. I'd wrap the tubes around my hands. I'd sit down and stand up, pull it apart. Just like that, okay? So, feet right together side by side. And that way we're getting a little bit of a lower body workout in at the same time. Now our next exercise is a countertop push-up. Now for this one here, I'm going to be using a chair. The height we use to have the hands on will dictate the difficulty. If you have it on a higher incline like a tree, that's going to be easier, okay? I'm going to use a high counter or the back of a sturdy chair. I'm going to press this chair into the ground to help make it more firm so it's not going to move around on me. Just be cautious with the surface you use. I could also use a lower bench. That would make it even harder. So the higher the incline you use, the easier the exercise is. Find the incline that's appropriate for you. We're going to be doing push-ups, and when I do the push-ups, my elbows are going down and back at a 45-degree angle. If they're straight out to the sides, although that'll target the chest more, that's a little bit harder on the shoulder joint itself. And if my arms are tight to the side of my ribs like this when I do push-ups, it's more of a tricep movement. In this way, down and back at a 45, we're getting a little bit of both in, a little bit of chest, a little bit of triceps, okay? So you're gonna keep your body, I'm pressing this down so it's not gonna go anywhere. Got it stuck in the ground nice and good. Heels up, keep your body straight in line like a surfboard or an ironing board. Then bend your elbows down and back at a 45-degree angle, bringing your chest to the surface, push off and repeat, just like this. Now, we can progress this by adding a triple pump at the bottom. A triple pump is when you go all the way down, then you do a little 1-inch press, again and again for 3 total before pressing all the way up, okay? So it would look like this. All the way down, up an inch, back all the way down, up an inch, all the way down, up an inch, all the way down, all the way up. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 pumps and up. 1, 2, 3 pumps and up. A further progression you can do is a mini hand jump at the top, and that's where you simply throw yourself off the surface just an inch, and then you land gently and proceed into the next push-up. Now once again, just make sure you've got a sturdy surface. I'm going to use the chair here, but it's firm into the ground. I'm confident it's not going to go anywhere. So I go all the way down, I come up, I throw myself off just an inch, throw myself off just an inch. So you can see that there. It's a little bit of a plyometric training effect. If you do have sensitivity in your elbows or shoulders, then I recommend that you don't try that variation because it's a little higher impact and it might aggravate something, okay? Now after that, we're gonna go on to alternating arm curls. For alternating arm curls, what you're going to do is you're going to be standing on the tube. And there's 3 different grips you can choose from here. So the tube is under the middle of my feet, okay? Now I'm doing alternating bicep curls, bending at the elbow to curl the handles up to the front of the shoulders, alternating sides like this. And if you go quick with the tubes, it really brings on a big pump. This is a standard bicep curl. Another variation is to go with an overhand grip. So with my grip like this, okay? So with an overhand grip, we're working a lot more of the forearms now. And you can see my palms face forward at the top. So this is a less common grip. And if you haven't done this one, I encourage you to use this variation just to help balance out the musculature around the elbow. Okay, and then the third grip is a hammer grip or for the long head of the biceps. So a hammer grip, you would take the strap and you'd grab just below the handle. See how it looks like the barrel of a gun? And I would do the same thing on the other side. So that's how my hands will look when I'm doing the curls, okay? So this one works the long head of the bicep, which is the meatier of the biceps. So we could do that variation as well. So I've taught you 3 variations, so you can choose which variation you like I encourage you to use the one you're less accustomed to doing. So the one that you're not doing or you haven't done before, that's what I encourage you to do, just to help balance out your fitness and balance out your muscular development in a most harmonious way. Now the next exercise we're going to be doing is a one-arm side raise, but we're doing it with a special grip. I'm going to be doing it with my palm forward, and once again, it's like a hammer grip like this. Okay, so I'm standing on the tube, and with one arm, I just raise it up and down, just up to about shoulder height, maybe a little bit higher. Okay, now one of the things I'm doing here, I'm keeping my body still in the center, but I'm also, when I'm raising it, I'm not raising it directly to the side, I'm going slightly forward, because your rib cage is like a barrel. So a true side raise is slightly forward, okay? That's easiest on your shoulder joint. So it's also easiest on your shoulder joint if you do that thumbs up grip. So they call this combination of techniques scaption, because it's most, it's the least stress on the shoulder joint itself, because we're doing everything in line with your anatomy, okay? So you're gonna do all the reps you can on one side, or sorry, you're gonna do one set on one side, then you do the next set on the next side, and you just alternate and repeat. This also works a little bit of your lateral core, because I'm using my core to resist side bending. So lateral core endurance is worked in there as well. Now, the final exercise is an elbow touch plank. For this one here, we're gonna be in a hand plank position. It's gonna look like you're on the top of a push-up, but from that position there, you're gonna reach across, touch one hand to the elbow, lower and repeat, alternating sides, keeping the rest of your body still, okay? It's easiest if you start off with a closer hand position. The wider your hand position, the harder it is. Conversely, it's easiest if you have wide feet. The closer your feet are, the harder it is, because we become more unstable. So this one looks like this. I'll just give you a quick look. So from the front, elbow touch down, elbow touch down, elbow touch down, elbow touch down. Keeping the rest of your body perfectly straight, just to give you a different view. Elbow touch, elbow touch, elbow touch, elbow touch. Okay? So you can see I'm keeping my body straight. Now if I want to progress it, I go hands really wide, feet really close, and you can see this is a really big challenge to keep the core tight. You really have to focus on a full body muscle contraction there. Keep that core cylinder tight if you're going to go with that progression there. So that concludes Tigger Moves 365. It's a Tabata workout. It can be done beautifully outside, as you can see here, whether you're on a cottage, lakeshore, your backyard, anywhere else. All you need is an exercise bench of some sort, or a chair, an exercise tube, and some willpower, and you can get a fantastic workout 365 days of the year. Tigger Moves 365 can be done anywhere.